One of the biggest questions in the Western Conference is who's going to make the 8th seed. Currently, the Memphis Grizzlies hold that spot, but the Portland Trailblazers, Sacramento Kings, San Antonio Spurs, and Phoenix Suns are currently in the running. However, in my opinion, there is one team that has a better chance than everyone to make the 8th seed, and it's the New Orleans Pelicans. Looking at how the Pelicans season has gone, it seemed that in mid-December that it was extremely unlikely that they would make the playoffs with just a 7-23 record. It's easy to see why this happened, as the Pelicans suffered through injuries to some of their main guys like Zion Williamson and Derek Favors, as well as minor injuries to guys such as Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram. However, since December 23rd, the Pelicans have gone an impressive 21-13, have turned everything around, and have thrust themselves back into playoff conversation. Currently tied for the 9th seed, the Pelicans are just 3 games back from the 8th-seeded Grizzlies. And while this may seem like they're still a ways away and have just 8 games left to qualify, it's actually very achievable, and here's why. Purely looking at the team stats, the Pelicans are one of the best offensive teams in the NBA, ranking 4th in points per game, 4th in field goals made, 3rd in three-pointers made, and 3rd in assists. However, they aren't the perfect team, as they turn the ball over 16.2 times per game, the 2nd worst mark in the league. This is one of the main reasons as to why they're 27th in the league in terms of opponents' points per game, giving up 117 a night. Turnovers equals easy buckets on the other end. Aside from this, they shoot free throws at just 72.9%, which is also the 2nd worst in the league. Brandon Ingram leads the charge offensively, averaging 24.3 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 4.3 assists. Named the first-time All-Star this season, Ingram's game has improved leaps and bounds, and he has established himself as one of the league's best 3-level scorers, as well as an underrated distributor. As one of the most hyped-up rookies in NBA history, Zion Williamson has not disappointed in his 19 games this year, putting up 23.6 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 2.2 assists per game. He's extremely efficient as well, shooting 59% from the floor. Zion's presence has been game-changing for the Pelicans, acting as the 2nd option offensively and shouldering a lot of the scoring load with Ingram. Jrue Holiday has been a staple in New Orleans since the Anthony Davis days, and his consistency is no different this season. Putting up 19.6 points, 4.9 rebounds, and 6.9 assists, Jrue is one of the best two-way combo guards in the league, capable of locking down the opposing team's best perimeter player, while still being extremely effective on the offensive end. In addition to his well-known slashing to the basket, he's also averaging a career-high 2.1 threes per game, meaning you can't leave him open. Lonzo Ball has quietly become one of the best up-and-coming point guards in the game. After a slow start to the season, Lonzo really picked it up during the Pelicans' hot streak, and in those 34 games, he's averaged 13.8 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 8.1 assists, while hitting nearly 3 threes a game on a 41% clip. Ball is the primary distributor of the Pelicans, and in my opinion, the most important player on their roster. He's the one who controls the tempo, makes the game so much easier for his guys, and has developed into one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. He's a very effective floor spacer and has established himself as one of the best all-around players as well. Lonzo is the Swiss Army knife of the team, capable of taking on any role that is asked from him. And to round out the starters is Derek Favors, who has been the defensive anchor down low for the Pelicans, as well as their main rebounder. Favors overcame injury during the earlier stages of the season, and now that he's fully healthy, he's averaged 10 points per game and 10.5 rebounds on 63% shooting from the field. His presence down low is extremely underrated in my opinion, and I believe that his absence down low earlier in the year is one of the reasons why the Pelicans struggled so much. Off the bench are great shooters like JJ Redick, Etuan Moore, Nicolo Melli. Josh Hart has proven to be one of the best 3-and-D wings off the bench, as well as a great wing rebounder, and solid big men like Jackson Hayes and Jahlil Okafor round out their bench. And now that we've gone over their roster and their strengths and weaknesses, let's look at their schedule. The number one reason why I believe the Pelicans will definitely make the 8th seed is because of how easy their schedule is compared to the Grizzlies. Looking at the Pelicans, their 8-game slate consists of games against the Jazz, Clippers, Grizzlies, Kings, Wizards, Spurs, Kings again, and finally the Orlando Magic. Looking at this, 6 out of 8 of those games are against teams that have a below 500 record. Against the Jazz this season, the Pelicans have a 1-2 record, but all of the games have been extremely close, with the Jazz winning by just an average of 5 points per game. But looking at the Pelicans roster now, they've added Zion Williamson, a 23 point per game scorer and monster down low, while the Jazz have lost one of their key floor spacers and scorers in Bojan Bogdanovic, who has averaged 20 points per game and 3 threes on the season. Another big question with the Jazz is whether or not the chemistry between Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert is still what it once was. I think these two things will be too much for the Jazz to overcome, and I have the Pelicans taking this matchup. Next up for the Pelicans is the Clippers, and honestly, I don't see them winning this matchup. The Pelicans are 1-2 against them this season, with their one win coming with Kawhi Leonard out of the lineup. The Clippers are just very well matched up against the Pelicans defensively, and with the deepest bench in the league, I think this is just too tough of a matchup for the Pelicans to win unless PG or Kawhi sit out. The Memphis Grizzlies are the third draw for the Pelicans, and this is the most important game of the 8-game series for both teams. A whole game in regards to seeding is either gained or lost in this battle, and I truly believe that the Pelicans will easily take this matchup. The Pelicans will overwhelm the Grizzlies with their defense and scoring prowess. During the season, the Pelicans dominated the Grizzlies in both matchups, winning by an average of 14 points, and to make things better, this was without Zion in the lineup. The Pelicans match up very well against the Grizzlies, as you can have Zoe or Jrue guard Ja and Dillon Brooks, who are two of Memphis's main scorers. Zion matches up very well against Jaren Jackson Jr., and Derek Favors is a great match for Valanciunas. The Pelicans faced the Kings twice, with the prior matchup being a narrow 117-115 victory for the Pelicans in Sacramento. I see them taking both games as the perimeter defense of the Pelicans will be too much for the Kings to handle, and in all honesty, defensively, the Kings don't have a true answer to handle Zion, B.I., and Jrue. The Wizards should prove to be no problem for the Pelicans, as they are without one of their best players and floor spacers in Davi Bertans, and are absolutely horrible on the defensive end, giving up the second most points per game in the league, and have the worst defensive rating in the league as well. Their main scoring threat is Bradley Beal, who I believe the Pelicans are well equipped to deal with guys like Lonzo and Jrue on the perimeter. The San Antonio Spurs are another interesting matchup for the Pelicans, as they lost their one game this season against them, 117-121. However, with recent shoulder surgery to LaMarcus Aldridge, who is one of the Spurs' main scoring threats and rim protectors, I think the Pelicans should be able to win this matchup based on their scoring ability. Similar to the Bradley Beal situation, the Pelicans should focus on DeMar DeRozan and limit his effectiveness, as he is the main scorer and main distributor of the Spurs. But this isn't to say that this will be a walk in the park for the Pelicans, as you can never underestimate their depth and the coaching ability of Greg Popovich. The final game for the Pelicans is a matchup against the Orlando Magic, the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. In their one matchup this season, the Pelicans lost 119-130. However, this was also the time when the Magic had elite 3-and-D wing Jonathan Isaac on their team, while the Pelicans didn't have Zion and Lonzo was still coming off the bench. While the Magic are a great defensive team, I just don't think they'll have an answer for the Pelicans on the offensive end, especially with their best defender and rim protector still going through rehab. Zion should be able to dominate this game, as the only thing standing between him and the rim is Nikola Vucevic, who isn't a very good rim protector to begin with. So, I have the Pelicans going 7-1 once the season resumes and making the playoffs, with one of the easiest schedules compared to the Grizzlies, who have to face the likes of the Blazers, Jazz, Thunder, Raptors, Boston, and Milwaukee. It just seems like fate that the Pels are going to make the playoffs. And with that, hopefully the Lakers can hold that first seed and we'll get to see a primetime matchup between the two teams. With all that being said, let me know in the comments below how you think the Pelicans are going to do and if they're going to make the playoffs. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd appreciate the support very much. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, the Pelicans should make the playoffs this season, unless Alvin Gentry decides, I want to do what I did earlier in the season and go on a 13-game losing streak.